welcome to Game Breaking News with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. On this episode, we're going to be talking about a massive decline in gaming hardware sales, and developers are uniting around the industry. We have Jan Ochoa on the program, so it's going to be a good one. Let's get right into it with Jan Ochoa. Jan, how are you doing?
I am doing marginally better than yesterday. I can sit in a chair fine. The back is still okay. It still feels like a group of first-grade horses trampled over it. I don't know if that's an actual classification of horses, but here we are.
I mean, listen, to me, it sounded like insane lyrics from like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. So you don't want that happening in your back. You don't want Red Hot Chili Peppers songs happening back there in those muscles.
Yeah, right now I'm at like Beck level lyrics
Okay.
with the
That's
health of my
safe.
back, which is safe. We're not crossing the RHCP bridge yet.
The
We're under
threshold.
it.
Yeah, we're under it. Boom. Okay. Jan, how you doing otherwise?
Video games are coming out, Grubb.
They are.
I popped into Assassin's Creed yesterday. Holy smokes, I'm enjoying that a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. You and Sean checked it out on the website yesterday, and that inspired me to like, all right, I want to check out this bamboo that Dan is talking about that he's so high on.
Good bamboo.
Good bamboo. Maybe best bamboo of the year so far.
I think so. Yeah. You know, there was a time in all these open world games where they would simulate everything, and you could like shoot the trees, and the trees would fall down. And I think they're like, well, the wider audience doesn't care about that. They just care about having waypoints to go to. And then so Ubisoft went in that direction. I think they're like realizing now that having all of that extra cool stuff in there was important, even if not everyone was engaging with it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're like they seem to be dipping their toe back in. It's like I said on that thing with Sean, it's not Far Cry 2 levels of interactivity with the world in that game, but you can chop up the bamboo and it looks real nice. And that's one where it's like, well, that makes sense. You have a sword, there's bamboo in front of you. You want to be able to chop it up and have it look nice, but at least they did actually do that. Yeah, I've been playing that. It's been pretty good. Got some other stuff looking forward to hopping into here pretty soon. We're gonna play some 33 Immortals today. I played some of that last night. That's strange. It's interesting. It's
strange to say the least.
Yeah. I kind of got in the flow of it though. So we'll show it off here in a little bit, not long after the show today. It is that 33 player online cooperative roguelite game. It's Hades, but 33 players. You can have a crew of 4, and really you're just kind of a crew of 4 in an instance, working together with other crews, trying to accomplish an overall goal on any floor. But yeah, I was enjoying myself. So yeah, looking forward to playing that.
I dipped into that a little bit as well this morning. And you're right. I don't enjoy the bow that they start you out with. And I also didn't like that they started you out with one of those instant that you have to fail missions. Just because I spent too much time actually trying to play and win. But
Totally
wound up switching weapons, and it is an interesting premise kind of being dumped with a bunch of other people playing at the same time. Reminds me of I guess Destiny in some ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely like taking some of the feelings of playing a game like that and applying it to a Hades. And I think it's a cool thing to do with a popular genre right now. Like, oh, Hades, something that like a lot of indie developers are aping. That's great. That's fantastic. I would probably I'm like interested to see, okay, what spin can you put on there? And this is a pretty good spin. All right, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on GiantBomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's break some gaming news with February's 2025 U.S. video game market highlights from Matt Piscatella over at Circana. As he does each month, he dropped a bunch of tidbits about what's going on around the industry in terms of performance and sales. And for February 2025, projected U.S. consumer spending on video game hardware, content, and accessories, it declined 6% when compared to a year ago to $4.5 billion. Spending so far this year is 11% lower than 2024 year to date, which hit $9 billion even. This is mostly due to a dip in hardware, but it's kind of across the board. We see everything's down. Content was down despite a lot of new games launching in February. Video game hardware, though, specifically down 35%. It is from like $712 million spent on hardware in the United States last year, all the way down to $461 million. The biggest culprit with this continues to be the Switch is at the end of its life. People are not buying Switches the way they once were. They're not buying Switches the way Nintendo even thought they could maybe still be. So we know that is like the main culprit. But PlayStation and Xbox, every time we kind of get this info from Matt Piscatella, at least throughout the last several months, it's often been both of those systems are down double-digit percentage-wise because they are on the other side of the hump. When we had Matt on 2 months ago now, 1 month ago, whatever that was, he explained we are past the tipping point of the current console generation where the Xbox and the PlayStation should start dipping in terms of reaching new people to sell consoles to. Although he did mention that it's dipping faster than he would have anticipated and faster than it typically does at this point in the generation. That's continuing. So, whatever's happening there, I mean, we'll get into all of it here in a second, but I guess let's hit the top best-selling games for the month. Like I said, a lot of new games launched in February, so that was not like the thing holding the industry back. And the top 4 on the chart were all new games, and really the 6 of the top 8 are new games. So number 1 was Monster Hunter Wilds from Capcom. Number 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did very well. Number 3 was Civilization 7. Number 4 was PGA Tour 2K25. Then NBA 2K25, it was back on the chart at number 5. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was number 6. And then 2 other new games, Avowed at number 7. And number 8 is Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And then the rest of the chart is a lot of the familiar faces, starting with Grand Theft Auto, Madden, Minecraft, EA Sports Football Club 25, things like that.
How is Hogwarts Legacy still on this chart?
I mean, it has become one of these games where I think we talk about the hardware not selling. I think the hardware, when it does sell, it is getting picked up by people who are like, okay, I'm going to finally get that Hogwarts game. I'm going to get Grand Theft Auto 5 again for the 3rd time on this new hardware, and Minecraft or something like that.
Yeah.
The very familiar games, and then the one new one that has sort of entered into that pantheon. I don't know. I mean, I think it got some improvements on the Switch not too long ago, and so it was selling there again. But yeah, it's definitely just has become one of these ever-selling games.
Right.
There's kind of no denying that. Hey,
right.
Astrobot, though, still on the chart at number 20.
That's great to see as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The story with this, Jan, I think we've had this conversation a million times now, is, hey, Grand Theft Auto 6 and Switch 2 are coming. And I think Switch 2 probably does solve the hardware sales thing. And then that maybe snowballs and helps with software.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are waiting for Nintendo's next moves to kind of plan out financially the road ahead. I think with people that have already bought a console or were on a fence of buying a PS5 or an Xbox are unfortunately waiting for GTA 6 to come out this year or not. And yeah, because I don't believe there's necessarily if you have been on the fence of picking up and joining this new generation that is 4 or 5 years old now, and there hasn't been that killer app or killer game to convince you to jump ship from PS4 or the Xbox One, then because you can still play your Fortnite, you can still play your Call of Duties or your Warzone or whatever else have you, then you're obviously at this point waiting for GTA 6, or you're waiting for, I don't know, something like Kingdom Hearts 4, or you have no interest in adopting this next or joining this current console gen, and you are waiting for that Switch 2. So I can see why hardware sales are down overall, on top of just people being really tight with money right now, Grubb, just because
right now,
just because of the rising costs of everything else. I mean, groceries, we don't need to get into it, but I saw a roadside sign as I was driving yesterday that says, "Yo, we got eggs." And it was like a local farmer selling eggs, astronomical prices, but hey, they're taking advantage of what's going on right now. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think with an Xbox handheld this year that could spike hardware sales as well, or are people kind of just waiting for GTA 6 or just waiting for prices to go down across the board, or just waiting for the Switch 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think Switch 2 is the big one, clearly. And then I think something like an Xbox handheld is the tip of the spear of introducing this kind of hardware to a new audience of people that maybe did not consider handhelds before, or maybe didn't consider video games because it wasn't convenient to them. And maybe the Xbox One could be, hey, this is like a console that I've heard of, but now a handheld, I can go for that. And excuse me, and they're promising that all the games that work on that system, the things I've heard of as well, Fortnite, can work on here. But I think we've seen with the Steam Deck, which I think has been an unqualified success. It's at like 5 million-ish, 6 million-ish. That's not like, it's just nothing close to what the consoles do, even the Xbox.
Yeah.
So I just think the handheld is going to have to establish itself as a new tier off to the side, and the Xbox handheld is part of that lineage, along with the Steam Deck and everything else. And then the Switch continues to be in its own little gully over there doing its own thing. But yeah, I mean, hardware is just, you mentioned it. People are tight with the purse strings right now. I think the uncertainty, just absolutely, flooding the economy right now definitely has caused people to be like, let's just hold off on any, unnecessary spending. And
Yeah.
consoles are just squarely in the unnecessary spending zone for the vast majority of people.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I'm not surprised that it's getting hit a little bit hard, and it's hit harder than it's been for quite some time. I'll read here more from Matt Piscatella. February video game hardware spending fell by 25% when compared to a year ago to $256 million. This is the lowest February total for video game hardware spending since the $184 million reached in February 2020, which was, that would have been before the new consoles, like right before the new generation of consoles. So they've kind of gone back to people are waiting for the new thing. That's what they were doing in February 2020. And then on top of that, there was the looming uncertainty of the pandemic, which people were beginning to recognize at this point. Obviously the economy really shut down in
Mhm.
March. But there was definitely people going like, wait, what's happening? Why do I keep hearing this every day on the news? Is this really
Mhm.
going to hit us like a wall? So yeah, and then the consoles came out later that year, and then of course people were at home and wanted video games, and things popped off. But maybe that same thing doesn't quite happen. That's not going to happen this time. People are not going to be rushing to get games in that same way, except for if they really want to switch to. Um, Other like notes here from Matt: Monster Hunter Wilds was the best-selling video game of February,
Mhm.
instantly becoming the best-selling title of 2025
Ooh.
so far. Launch month dollar sales of Monster Hunter Wilds more than doubled the total of Monster Hunter Rise achieved during its March 2021 debut. And Monster Hunter Wilds was the best-selling game of February across the PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam ecosystems, with Steam
Deal.
accounting for more than half of the title's total dollar sales. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty substantial. Who knew, Grubb, launching on everything would boost sales, perhaps.
Yeah, and like to the point where people are like choosing the PC version, and
Yeah.
I mean more than half of dollar sales were just on Steam. And it's like that's just not how these breakdowns normally happen. It's PlayStation is like 40%, and then
Mhm.
Steam is 30%, and then the 30% is maybe Xbox. And there's give and take there. Um, But yeah, I think that this game has just clearly shown that there's a huge audience everywhere, and the PC gamers now are ready to show up for this thing right away. And
Yeah.
yeah, the right choice to get this thing out everywhere. I mean, and we've heard this from every publisher now, being like, we just want to be everywhere we possibly can be. That seems to be the strategy that works best. And yeah, this is proving it. Which maybe is like, okay, hey, that next Final Fantasy, when Square Enix decides, let's put that out everywhere right away as soon as it's ready to go, does it have a chance of popping off in a similar way? It's obviously not going to do Monster Hunter numbers.
No.
It just isn't. But it could be a much different story than the "Ooh, how's it really doing?" that we've been
Yeah.
saying with Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Part 2 remake.
Yeah, I wonder if the multiplayer component is a big factor in this doing so well on PC as well, where folks and even on console where folks are thinking like, all right, cool, I don't have I'm getting tired of playing and I hate to constantly bring it up, but Fortnite or Warzone with my friends, or we've already gone through a season of whatever multiplayer game we're doing together now. Is this the one we're investing in because we know that we can spend a lot of time in Monster Hunter and we will get DLC in the future? So I'm curious if that plays a big role versus if the new Final Fantasy, like the third 7 remake game or the next mainline big numbered title would do well, since it would be a single player game.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors there, but it's I mean, one of the big things holding back just was this idea that the money from PlayStation was worth it.
Yeah.
And I think they've said now it wasn't. It is not. It is a hindrance on the long-term success of these franchises, and really seems to be a hindrance on the immediate success as well. They want to sell as many copies of those games as they possibly can, and they weren't. They just weren't. And whatever reason that the PlayStation audience didn't completely glom onto it, whatever, that's maybe the game's fault. But being able to like find the kinds of people that want to play this game elsewhere, well, you held that back yourself, excuse me, by just taking the bag from PlayStation and being like, okay, well, we got money up front, that's good. It's like, yeah, but it seems maybe it is steering Final Fantasy into a little bit of irrelevancy in the meantime.
Colonel Sanders 21 in the Giant Bomb chat poses an interesting pipeline where kids are kind of clamoring or asking for PCs more than they are asking for consoles. And I wonder if that generation of iPad kids or kids that grew up with screens don't want a console and they want a PC because maybe they grew up watching Roblox streamers, Minecraft streamers, Fortnite streamers, and they were all playing on PCs, so maybe they aren't going for a console that can just do the one thing and play the games. They're looking for something where, okay, well, I can not only play this game, but I could stream this game. There's Discord on this PC. It's easy to link up with friends this way. Yeah, who knew? Maybe at your local job fair or bring your career day, Grubb, we can just be bad YouTubers and be proud of it.
That's right. Maybe finally. Man, weird pride. I don't know what that feels like.
Ugh.
Yeah, gross. Yes, I mean they started playing Minecraft on a hand-me-down phone, but then that led them to, like you said, watching streamers, and those streamers are all going to be doing things like playing with mods, like setting up their own custom games, stuff that is just much easier and like sort of standardized in the default on PC. And so, and like every time if you were watching one of these streamers, it's probably hard to go through an entire stream without someone in chat being like, "What kind of PC do you have?" And then they talk about that, and people just so absorb that stuff through osmosis. And they're like, "If I want to be like this person who is my favorite content creator, I shall have a PC." And I think it kind of it has shaken out to the point where it's like, oh, that had a massive sort of shift on the entire landscape of where people play games. And it seems like it's not necessarily been at the complete expense of consoles, but a little bit at the expense of consoles here as we get to the end of this generation. And people that may have been like, okay, I'll hop in now. Like, no, they already have PCs because they were able to justify that by, hey, this is a multi-use thing that I can use for all kinds of different stuff, including maybe making money one day. And so I don't need a console. And a lot of those console games now are on PC.
Yeah, I wonder if in the long run, this future generation of gamers will eventually hurt the console market. But oddly enough, I feel like the Switch and Nintendo, not that they're impervious to it, Grubb, but I feel like they're just so far in a different lane that they don't really worry about how PlayStation and Microsoft are necessarily doing hardware-wise.
It's a similar lane, but you're right, it is different, right? Because it's still kids. We're talking about families now.
Yeah.
This is not like, what is the kids' hobby? Should we get them a PC so we can facilitate the hobby? It's like, no, like this is something we're going to get for the entire family. And that kind of spending, people underestimate it all the time. It is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I spend this $1 on this form of entertainment, it will pay dividends in that it is something for the entire family can get joy out of. The Switch is just the thing in that butter zone there to take advantage of that. So, yeah, I just think that it's still actually quite a bit of a different thing, and it's a protected thing. It's shielded from all of this other guff happening because nothing else is really threatening Switch's position in that zone, and Nintendo's position specifically. Um. All right. Here's some more news. Dan Reichert cut his mouth slit in an ET mask so he can eat candy. So look forward to that a little later today.
Dan, you don't
everybody.
have to wear the costume now.
I think he's addicted to it. He put it on, and I expect him to be wearing this costume from now on.
Oh no.
Okay, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition reviews came in. It got an 87 on OpenCritic, which is higher than the original version, which I think got like an 84, around that range. Now, selection bias. The people who like the game probably did review the game, but whatever. This is 87, still a hard number to get. Got a 9 out of 10 from George Yang, who said, and this is over at IGN, Xenoblade Chronicles X was already one of the Wii U's best games, and this definitive edition does more than enough to justify another trip to planet Mira. 10 out of 10 from Stephen Mills at Destructoid. Monolith Soft went the extra mile and added meaningful new content and quality of life features that actually improved on what was already a masterpiece experience. The definitive edition treatment makes Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition one of the best JRPGs on the Switch and a must-play for fans of the genre. And then Willow Rowe over at Digital Trends gave it 4 stars. Said Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition gives a great RPG the second chance it deserves. Have you ever played X?
No. The first Xenoblade Chronicles I got into was the most recent one, other than this, 3.
Yep.
And I dug the hell out of that game, Grubb. Because the original Xenoblade Chronicles X that launched on the Wii U, correct?
Wii U, yeah. That's right.
I did not want to be anywhere near the Wii U.
Of course not.
So I am very psyched for this to review well, and I'm very psyched to check this out, especially given how weird this universe is, and how how tied to space drama and space opera it is, and I just eat that stuff up, Grubb.
Yeah, it's I think this is the one maybe I'm most interested in out of the Xenoblade games, because I have played some Chronicles 3 and I enjoyed myself. I thought that was pretty good. I didn't play a ton of it, but I played some of it. This one is, I guess, it has more of an emphasis on exploration. And, it's the tech. It was the underlying tech for this game was what they eventually kind of used for Breath of the Wild. And I like just running around Breath of the Wild. If I can kind of get something slightly similar, but there's more JRPG stuff in there, I'm okay with that. I want to check it out. So I think I'm going to play this, give it a shot. Also, just want a couple more reasons to play the Switch one before it's all said and done. And I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to do that.
See, Grubb, I've seen the sentiment of people even in our chat saying like, all right, I'm glad this game came out. Gonna wait for the Switch 2. And I'm almost on that wavelength too.
Sure, I get it.
And for whatever reason, I'm still semi-compelled, Grubb, to buy an OLED Switch 1 just so I can take this like final victory lap on the Switch and have everything look great before the Switch 2 comes out. But I don't know. I'm on the fence. And I feel that same way about Pokemon ZA as well, of waiting for the Switch 2.
Yeah, I mean, that one feels like, did we get a date for that? I feel like that was like later than we were anticipating. So like that, the Switch 2 should be well out by the time we get that thing, although it will be a Switch 1 game as well. Yeah, it's tough. Like I'm happy with my OLED, although my kids have kind of beat it up a little bit. And I did find myself at Target the other day, man, like, oh, look at the Mario Wonder bundle. I own Mario Wonder and I own an OLED already. I'm like, no, I'll walk away. But I did like consider it for a half second. But we are, I mean, God, we can like just count the days. All right, I'm just gonna count them. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days. Exactly 2 weeks. So it's gonna be the Wednesday, 2 weeks from now, that we will be getting that Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 on April 2nd. So I think everyone pumps the brakes. Most people in chat are already in that zone. They're pumping the brakes. Like, let's just wait to see what's going on with the Switch 2, and then maybe I'll pick up some of these final Switch 1 games for that. We don't know what the enhancements are going to be like. I think it's safe to assume there will be some enhancements for games coming out in this general area, this general date range.
Grubb, will you come with me on a thought train real quick?
Yeah, please.
All right. Choo choo. Everyone get on board.
Chugga.
John Cena, big fan of Metroid, correct?
Yeah, the biggest, yeah.
Nintendo, notorious for delaying games because of real life world events.
This is a good point.
Right? So, perhaps, they delayed the Advance Wars re-release. They delayed another thing because the Queen died. Now,
the reveal of Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes, Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my God! Wow, what an event in history.
Uh-huh.
Now, what if they potentially delay Metroid Prime 4 because John Cena is now a bad guy?
You can't be seen as rewarding heel John Cena, the bad guy, no matter how much he tries to explain it away, by giving him a Metroid, the thing he wants most in the world.
Yeah. Like, he was talking about how we take and take and take. Now, what if he takes Metroid Prime 4 away from us?
I mean, that would be Dan Luck as someone who counterpicked it in Fantasy Critic. If it got delayed because of John Cena, he could be in cahoots with John Cena and making this happen. So I would be devastated.
He was already in the Switch chamber. Who knows what he's doing in the Switch 2 chambers?
Yeah, that's what they are trying to build a Switch 2 prison strong enough to hold heel John Cena. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. All right, let's keep going here. Game developers launched North America's first industry-wide union that anyone can join. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Game industry unionization efforts that exploded across Sega of America, Bethesda, and others have recently been on pause. A new initiative by the Communications Workers of America could jumpstart things again. At the Game Developers Conference 2025 happening this week, the group announced the founding of the United Video Game Workers, a new sister organization that hopes to enlist developers from all different disciplines and studios in broader labor battles across the industry. The UVW-CWA's mission, per a press release reported by IGN, is to not only build a community and solidarity amongst video game workers, but also to build large-scale education campaigns about labor organizing in the video game industry. Unlike individual union shops, which bargain contracts with employees, the direct join model functions more like a voluntary trade group where paid dues and resources are pooled to help with various labor fights across the broader market. The announcement comes as SAG-AFTRA, game actors entered their 9th month of striking for AI protections while publishers experiment with digital replicas. This is, I'm like surprised this is actually happening because it's like this felt like the one step they actually wouldn't do, like do the equivalent of the United Auto Workers or SAG-AFTRA, things like that. Something that just applies to the market broadly, the industry broadly. Whether you work at one studio or another, you could still join this union and have protections and maybe at a certain point down the line, I don't know, health benefits even between jobs, because the way the industry works, it's similar to the way Hollywood works, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Where you're on one project, and then when that project gets done filming, you're done. You were contracted to do that. So what do you do about healthcare? Well, the healthcare comes through the union, at least in some unions in Hollywood. I don't know. I don't have total insight into that, but I know that's how it works for like actors and things like that. So can video game workers get something similar because they are often laid off as a project ends? I would hope so, and maybe this is a step toward that.
Yeah, this would be absolutely amazing because, there are different trades out there, Grubb, like you mentioned, that protect you from job to job or especially protect you from gig to gig. And having this type of protection in an incredibly volatile industry, arguably more volatile than the entertainment industry is right now. This amount of protection, whether it is in between getting unfortunately laid off and then joining another studio, or perhaps venturing out into a solo project or a smaller indie project, this would provide so much protection. And I think then I would start to feel okay recommending seeking or going into the games industry as a career with the safety net of a potential a bigger, wider industry union. I would give this as much support as possible.
Yep. As Ethan points out, we've heard a lot about unions starting up across different studios, but none of those studios that have unions, or I should say none of the unions within those studios, have actually been able to successfully negotiate new contracts with their publishers and the parent companies. That stuff is like still either happening or on pause or nothing's happening. There is like a lot of roadblocks between actually finalizing those conversations to the point where like a collectively bargained contract is finalized. Um, really you need more pressure, and the pressure's been building, but you need more pressure. And something like this could be the kind of thing where it really puts things over the top and forces these companies to do what needs to be done and actually come to the table and collectively bargain with workers.
Yeah, I'm with anarchist Mike Minotti here. Maybe
Of
let's
course.
topple our overlords here, and at least for game devs or other folks in game development or that side of the fence, I want them to have as many protections and as many things as possible to help them continue doing their jobs, because ultimately at the end they're the ones making the games and not these shareholders. I couldn't care for these shareholders at all.
Yeah. Gee whiz, can I just borrow the means of production there real quick, buddy?
Gee whiz, we'll seize it ourselves.
All right. Yeah. This cool. GDC is the kind of place where this can really get a lot of traction, really take off. There's always a lot of these vibes there of, hey, we're in this together as game developers. That is the point of GDC. They come there to share knowledge with each other openly, despite, working on products that are ostensibly competing with one another. Because they know that the medium grows when they all come together and share that passion. Well, let's, share in the risk with one another of arguing with the companies that you work for. And maybe you can improve things to the point where, as you said, Jan, everyone begins feeling better about recommending this industry to new people, so we can keep getting new cool stuff and new cool ideas from new cool people. And those new cool people can feed themselves, house themselves, and maybe, start families or do whatever they want with their money. It's their money. They should be able to do it.
Huh?
I know. It's crazy.
Whoa.
All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, plenty more to talk about, including a new Xbox Adaptive Joystick that is available now. All right, let's get right back into it. As I mentioned, Xbox, who already had that one big adaptive controller, now it's basically put out a nunchuck version of that you could plug in there, and it's available now. I think it's just called the Xbox Adaptive Joystick. This comes from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. The Xbox Adaptive Joystick has officially launched, giving users a new accessibility option for playing games, bearing a striking resemblance to the Nintendo Wii's nunchuck controller. The Xbox Adaptive Joystick is priced at $30 and can be purchased from the Microsoft Store. It's compatible with PC and Xbox consoles, although I think they're always trying to add more support for other platforms with this stuff. Microsoft says that this wired controller was designed in collaboration with gaming and disability communities, so that the users with limited mobility have access to a device that can meet their needs. Like they show an image of someone tucking it into their shoulder and using their chin on the analog stick, being like, oh, look, we're kind of like thinking about the ergonomics of that. There's like rubber on the back to help it stay in place. Things along those lines is what they're thinking here. And yeah, it is really just a nunchuck. It has a few more buttons on there, but something ain't broke, you don't have to fix it. It seems like a pretty good idea. I think the nunchuck did have some popularity with accessibility people, but that had the proprietary Nintendo Switch or Wii connector. God, this will have just USB, can plug it into anything, and or it might even have the like phone adapter thing that they use for a lot of accessibility stuff. That like there's a bunch of those ports on the back of the $100 adaptive controller. Either way, like this is part of an ongoing effort by Microsoft and a lot of people in the industry to make gaming more accessible. And I think I approve for one, Jan.
100%. Making it easier for everyone to play games. Why would anyone have any issue with that?
Yep.
I do like that it has adopted the kind of nunchuck style. I enjoyed the controllers that the Meta 3 had. So I don't know. I might be a nunchuck convert, Grubb.
Yeah,
I might be a chucker.
Man, I knew you were such a chucker out here. Always chucking with Jan Ochoa. Yeah, it's like it looks comfortable. It looks nice, and I think it is going to. And it really, it's just one option.
Yeah.
So it's like like if someone like sees this thing, like how would this work for the specific problems that I have? Well, first of all, the people in these communities know that they are like a lot of the stuff is still going to be custom built. and that's what the adaptive controller supports. It supports like you plugging in whatever you want into that thing, and there's probably going to be a way to get it to work. But this is just like, let's standardize one thing for something that could service a lot of people in the community. See if we can't help out a little bit by putting out products that are reasonably priced and well designed, and will work with the stuff just in a plug and play way. That's nice to see. And Microsoft's not the only one doing this now. 8BitDo has their, like, here's all the buttons just on the face of this controller, including the shoulder buttons and things like that. So you could just kind of find it on the surface of the pad and press it. And I think Sony's got some of their own stuff as well. So this is a good movement that has been happening in gaming. And it's at a certain point, it's like, they're not just serving, oh, how many people that have disabilities are playing games. It's like, at a certain point, we all are going to encounter injuries or aging that put us in a situation where it's like, if people are solving these problems now, it could benefit you later, even if you're not even thinking about this at all in this moment. And that's invaluable.
Yeah. On I know that we don't see a lot of hardware specific stuff on the Sony side, or at least like as much as we do from Xbox. But I mean, I remember like The Last of Us Part 2 having an insane amount of accessibility options. So that also,
oh yes,
coming through on the software side is fantastic to see. Especially when you have games like Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft, really allowing for customization in terms of hotkeys and everything. That goes a long way in terms of accessibility for people that can't use the keyboard or find a controller to be more up their alley in terms of what they're able to use. So applause across the board for really increasing the visibility on accessibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's the old saying from Ronald Reagan about economics of the rising tide lifts all boats, and we know that was like the trickle down bullshit that wasn't real. But when you raise, the rising tide of caring about all communities everywhere where they are, that actually does benefit everybody. Like actually doing the work to help marginalized groups really does make a difference for everyone in the end. So thinking about these problems, making sure that we are putting every accessibility option we could think of in The Last of Us Part 2. There might be one thing in there for someone who does not consider themselves part of that community, but oh wait, this does actually help me a little bit. And
yeah.
Closed captions for me, I'm like, that is an accessibility thing that I use all the time. I need that. It helps me process information better. And that's the same thing. It's part of the same lineage there. All right, let's keep moving. Hey, an update on this one. Skate Story adds PS5 version. It's also kind of getting a little bit more of release date info. This comes from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Skateboarding adventure game Skate Story will launch for PlayStation 5 alongside its previously announced PC Steam version in 2025. Publisher Devolver Digital and developer Sam Ing announced. They're saying this game should be coming out in summer. It continues to look really cool. I'm hoping that this thing actually does hit here pretty soon. And I think maybe the good news is it was originally just kind of announced for Steam, and now getting a console version makes it feel more real somehow. Where it's like, oh, they've been having conversations with Sony about getting this game out there, and Devolver Digital's still out there talking about the game. So that's pretty exciting for a game that I just think looks so stylish and so slick.
Skating's back on the menu, baby.
Yeah. I mean, and we know that just by looking at the skating culture. It's popping off more than it has been forever. But video games being like ready to catch that excitement and do something with it has always traditionally been very important to skateboarding. So love to see that. Now we're going to get the Tony Hawk, we're getting skate, and we're getting sort of the Tetris effect equivalent of skateboarding with this game. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds great. And I guess for people that aren't watching visually, Skate Story is a shimmery man on a skateboard skating through a digital hellscape or something like that while cool music and special effects happen. It just looks very stylish. I mean, honestly, Tetris effect, but for skateboarding maybe isn't so far off from a good explanation of what this thing is.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout out. Perhaps a Res or a Lumines as well.
Yes, in that zone. Yeah, this
Fantavision.
Yeah, the Fantavision for skateboarding. Hey, that's overdue. We should have got that a long time ago, personally, in my opinion. This was like not the only thing that was popping off from like some indie game announcements that Sony had, but this was the biggest one I saw from them. But there's some other stuff happening with indie games over at PlayStation. Let's get to this next story, though. College football players will be paid more to appear in College Football 26. This is from Nicole Carpenter at Polygon. Ahead of College Football 25, EA Sports paid college football players $600 and a copy of the game to license the players' likenesses for the game. That's being up to $1,500 per player for College Football 26, according to a report from The Athletic. EA Sports said in an email to players on Tuesday, per the report, that name, image, and likeness, NIL, payments would increase and that players will still receive a copy of the game. From the beginning, we've designed our NIL program to be accessible, direct, voluntary, and equitable for all, offering the same base level compensation to every FBS athlete that opts in using the One Team platform and Compass NIL app. EA Sports Vice President of Business Development Sean O'Brien said in a statement to The Athletic, this approach empowers each athlete to make their own decision. College sports are growing and changing, and our focus at EA Sports is on continuing to put athletes first as we bring them in game in College Football 26 and beyond. And we know that's all bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that was so much bullshit.
Yeah.
It's so much bullshit. You're putting the players first. My God, get a grip. You're doing no such thing. You're giving them pennies for a game that makes hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, that first game in a long time, last year's game, maybe on its own made $1.5 billion. I mean, honestly, it might have made more than that. It was a massive success, huge success, and $600 for each player last year. I was like, and I don't know how you license all these people. That's so many people. That's got to be a nightmare. And now they do kind of put a little bit of an explanation here. Is it's a portal that the player can just go to and volunteer, and then they get to see themselves in the game. They get $1,500 this year and a copy of the game. What kid's not going to do that? And the one kid that's not going to do that were the handful of guys that ended up on the cover, right? That did not go this route. They were the Arch Manning or whatever, and Travis Hunter from Colorado. Guys that were held out. I think Arch Manning himself specifically held out until he got a deal, and then he ended up in one of the commercials, which is going to pay a lot more money than any of this. So this is a way of still depressing wages for people's likeness in some ways. But I mean, the company's also like, hey, there's a lot of people to license, so of course we're doing that. Although we're going to lie and say we're doing it for the benefit of the student athletes.
Yeah. Y'all could do a little bit more for the student athletes.
Could do more.
Yeah. So please do more. That being said, I guess a little bit more of a payday is nice for.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's better. Yeah,
the student athletes. I hope they got a free copy of the game last year.
They did $600 and a free copy of the game. That's right.
Great, cool. Maybe a second copy of the game to give to a friend, perhaps.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I wonder if it's would 1% of the game's revenues split up among all these players be more than $1,500? I bet it would be. I bet it actually would be, even despite the fact that there are hundreds, I think probably more than 1,000 players, maybe a couple thousand players across all of the schools that they are licensing. So yeah, that would be, you're splitting up a small piece of the pie, but it could be a very, very, very big pie. But EA is not going to offer that ever. That would require players to do something like have a student player union, something that happens in the pros, and they probably negotiate better deals than this for the NFLPA, the NFL Players Association, where that's how they usually go. That's the route they go. They talk to the NFLPA or the NHLPA or whatever, and then they are okay. We're going to offer a deal to you, and then you offer to all the players and see if everyone wants to sign. And I think those players get probably a little bit more than $1,500. And at the same time, there are fewer of those than there are student athletes. So I see both sides, but I mean, let's be clear. EA, this whole explanation is just a bunch of BS.
How many people do you need on a college football team, Grubb?
Yeah, I mean, 4, 5, I think.
All right, there's you, there's me, there's Dan, Minotti, Nikki, Turbo Sean, Lucy.
GB
University, baby, with Coach Bacalar. We can all get an easy $1,500 and a copy of this game.
Pound the rock, says Bacalar. Yeah, I would enjoy that. Okay, yeah, let's do it. I could use $1,500. I gotta replace my front door, so that'd be great. All right. Hey, the College Football 26 probably still will be massively successful. It's not going to be the breakout hit that College Football 25 was, right? There was so much pent up demand.
Yeah.
That's a lot of that was the explanation of how that game did so well. Although, college football more popular than it's ever been. So it still will do very good.
That's very true. I am curious to see how the second game will be received. If it will be sell as well as the first one from last year.
Yeah, it's going to probably be the best-selling sports game again, I think, in the United States. Globally, that'll still be FIFA. In the United States, it'll probably still be this, and it could be, number 2, number 3 on the best-selling game of the year list from Circano, and Matt Piscatella puts that out. But if Grand Theft Auto comes out, it's not going to outsell that like it might have last year. All right, keep pounding the rock on this show. Inzoi price, free update plans, and roadmap revealed just before launch. This comes from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. The life sim game Inzoi, which is how I'm going to say that, I don't know if that's right, is coming this month, and the game's developer has finally confirmed additional key details, including the price of the game at launch. Game director Hingonjong Kim said during the Inzoi Global Showcase that the game will debut on Steam in early access for $40. According to PC Gamer, he said the game still has a lot to improve on, which is part of the reason why it's launching in early access. This is the very realistic looking Sims it is the very shiny waifu husbando Sims game, which I think a lot of people are craving and have been craving for a long time. And so it seems like this is on the precipice of being a breakout game this year. As long as it does a few basic things right. And I think people are going to be, especially people who are into this genre, Jan, right? They're used to it coming in hot, not being complete. And so it's an early access game. I don't think that's going to deter them.
Yeah. I don't think so either. The Sims community is a scary and interesting community that
I fear them.
Yes, has been slowly building and doing things on their own side of the internet for quite a while now. Oh, yeah. I know Abby Russell educated a lot of us here on Giant Bomb as to the wonders of The Sims, but it turns out it goes even deeper than that. But I do want to share that Bailey spoke to, I think, the producer or the director of Inzoi last year at Gamescom, and he himself is a gigantic fan of The Sims, and wanted to just make a game that his son could play easier or an easier playing experience.
Right.
So, I would have some hope for Inzoi coming out and being pretty good.
I mean, I think that even if it is mediocre, middling at first, I think the look of it, and maybe making some promises and be like, we are in early access for the specific reason of you tell us what you are vibing with the most and what you need the most, and we will work on that. If that's the plan, then I think this game continues to stand a really strong chance of popping off and being like the other game in this genre. Like, nothing is actually going to replace The Sims. The Sims is like the Pokemon equivalent in this space, where no matter what else anyone else produces, even if it's going to be this is going to be the new Pal World, it's not going to displace Pokemon. And this is not going to displace The Sims, but it could very easily be like, man, this is a game that made a ton of money, found a huge audience, just quietly over there humming along with 10 million players or something like that. Easily that could happen. $40 price tag. I mean, that to me sounds like they're going to do the business model of The Sims as well, instead of making it free to play and making all the cosmetics paid for. I think that might also be welcomed by this community as well, because they're used to that, right?
Yeah, having that $40 entry ticket be pretty low, and then everything else on top of that, just a little bit more. I think that is an easier pill to swallow. That being said, I'm still terrified of the Sims community. I don't know their spending habits. I do have a couple friends that have gone very into the Sims, and then they wound up knowing more about modding than I thought they would.
Yes, exactly. It's the kind of thing that gets people this is one of those things where hey, I know I need a PC so I can play the real version of The Sims with all these mods and do whatever I want. And I'm going to buy all the packs as well, because some of the mods require those packs. But I'm going to make this game my own, because I mean, The Sims, that is what The Sims is, right? Like, you find your own ways to have fun. If that means you killing your friend Jan Ochoa and Dan Reichert on the website, then that's what that means.
It happens, avoid the fugu if possible.
Okay, let's see here. A couple more headlines. These were the most popular characters in the Sonic Racing Crossworlds Network test. Jan, they tested this and they reported back which characters people wanted to play as the most.
Mm-hmm.
The top two are not too surprising. Do you know what they are?
I spoiled myself and I saw the news story. So
okay,
it is Sonic and Shadow.
Sonic and Shadow. Yeah, the number 3 is Cream, and I guess it's Cream and Cheese, and Cheese is like one of the chows or whatever they're called, who hangs out with Cream, but that they're like a pair that work together on a cart or something like that. Yeah, there you go.
That's not her whole name. That's not her whole name, Grubb.
Oh, what is her whole name?
Cream the Rabbit.
Cream the Rabbit. Okay. Cream and Cheese, and then Cream the Rabbit and Cheese. I like to just go with the shorter name to make it sound better. But okay, Cream the Rabbit, which just sounds like a weird statement. I am still excited about this game because I like some of these Sonic kart racers. I actually did go back and play some of Racing Transformed after this got announced, and be like, oh, everyone's right. This is a very fun game. Looking forward to this, but I'm hoping they can branch off in the way that they once did with Transform and have more of these characters other than just the Sonic freaks, although people seem to be happy with their cream and cheesins.
People love cream and cheese. Cream cheese, Grubb.
That's fair enough.
I think the boomers watching and listening this aren't ready to accept that no one likes or no one even cares about Big the Cat anymore.
Yeah, where's Big the Cat?
Exactly. We're all about Cream the Rabbit now. Everyone that grew up and played Sonic Advance 3 and they introduced Cream, they're like, oh, that's a fun character to play as. I just got to run.
Degeneracy. That's what this is. Bring back Big the Cat. That's for real men.
I will not stand for this Cream the Rabbit slander.
Cream the Rabbit seems fine. But I guess I'm surprised number 3. I'm like, oh, what about Sonic's girlfriend Amy or something like that? Or Tails?
Who cares?
It's all about Cream the Rabbit. All right, fair enough. If all you degenerates are your cream and cheese out there, you get your cream and cheese. A last story here. This is weird. From Twitter, the @GameInformer page. I hope this is not just that CEO being an asshole, but there's a little video here that seems to be teasing something happening with Game Informer. And I gotta say, I am personally getting my hopes way up because that could be really cool. Although it's okay, so it says March 25th, 2025. So something will be happening by then.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope it's not like that zombie version of EGM or something like that, where they brought it back and it's like, oh, this is not the same thing. And even when they brought cool people like Patrick Klepek in, you could tell he's like, wait, this is not what I thought I was signing up for. It just was a shell of its former self. I mean, who knows what this actually means? But as I get my hopes up, I just hope something awesome is happening with Game Informer again, because we are poorer for not having Game Informer coming every month. They opened up subscriptions there at the end, and I subscribed, and it was so awesome to get those magazines in the mail again. And I'm hoping that could just continue. That would be ideal. So we'll see. I guess we're going to get the answers here early next week. And maybe they'll steal the spotlight from Switch too. But yeah, I don't know. What's your speculation?
It looks like I've been seeing the Skeets on Blue Sky, and former staff members are posting it.
Okay,
alum
they've confirmed it. All right, well, it's happening. They're coming back, everybody.
Oh, well, okay.
Yep, lots of former GI people are signal boosting it on Blue Sky, and it does seem like they are. A lot of those people that seem to work there are pointing to this, be like, "This is a good thing." So we'll see exactly what that looks like for them. I'm very excited, but yeah, okay. But hearing rumblings that some people that used to work at Game Informer are having happy things happen to them. So
good.
Again, the industry's going to be better off with Game Informer back. That would be fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I was lying to the audience. I'm sorry.
What?
I know. I'm a bad person. Okay. Well, we'll get all the details for that on March 25th.
Okay. Hold on, though. Vitelli had posted about this on Blue Sky, and this is actually the most amazing thing for me personally. But if Game Informer comes back, does that mean we get a Game Informer 2025 video game release calendar? Because
I hope so.
Theirs is the best, or was the best?
It was the best. Now, I think that was like tied into the GameStop API, so maybe not. So maybe not, but we'll see.
Nuts.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure if that's how that worked, but I think I remember hearing something like that was the case. All right, we got a poll question from Monday. Will you be excited if Naughty Dog's next game, Intergalactic, is more like Elden Ring? Yes or no? Let me refresh that, make sure that it's fully up to date here. Yes, okay, there we go. 39% said yes, 61% said no. I think that's, that's about right. There's just so much trepidation around making a change like that or chasing a trend, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want your favorite developer to be like, well, we're going to chase a trend. Although I don't think that's how Naughty Dog would approach it. I personally am excited by this prospect because I think they will take the best parts of it and make it work with the best parts of what they do to make a very good video game. And I think Intergalactic looks interesting.
Yeah, I'm a little bit on the fence, Grubb. What if games were just easy?
Yeah.
What if having to deal with souls and running back to my graveyard, I could just play the game?
Yeah, I wondered if they definitely have talked previously about how they like the openness and the exploration and making the adventure feel more like your own. And I wonder if they're able to do that while maybe not going full from soft difficulty.
Yeah,
and they probably would want to because they make broadly appealing games. Like the Last of Us Part 2 is a game that you always hear like, hey, I played no other game, but I played this one, and I wish there were more games like this. I'm like, ugh, sorry, there's just not.
Yeah, not a
and
lot.
now there won't be either because Intergalactic sounds like it might be a little different as well. So sorry to those people. Okay, new poll question. We'll have that in a second. Before we get to all of that, Jan Ochoa, what else do we have going on? What do you have going on? What should we tell the people all about?
After this on the Power Block, we're going to be checking out 33 Immortals. Come join us. Maybe we can all play in the same world. It's out now on Game Pass, I believe. That's at least how I have it.
I downloaded it using the Xbox Game Pass thing on PC, and it worked just fine.
There you go, folks. Later today, though, ending the Power Block, we have the last round of the Lightning Round. Dan Reichert's turn, and he ready to phone home, everyone. He's going to be playing E.T. on the Atari 2600, folks.
That's right.
Tune in for some wonderful times. Tomorrow on the Power Block, more game-breaking news, the GameSpot show. We may have some stuff from GDC airing tomorrow as well as Voicemail Dump Truck. Friday, ending the week with more game-breaking news. We have Mike Drucker on BCR this week, as well as UPF and more GameSpot After Dark. But also, Grubb, before this, folks may be wondering why Game Breaking News is pushed back by another hour than they're used to. The Stalker 2 documentary that the GameSpot team has been diligently working on for the past couple months is now out. If you missed that, the premiere of that earlier today, I suggest you go check it out. Labor of love. And also... hey, it turns out world events affect everything, huh?
Yeah, they seem to affect everything.
Yeah.
Especially if those world events are localized entirely in your country.
Yeah, turns out.
So yeah, that was good work. They just the guys over there crushed it on that documentary. So shout out to them. Really excellent work. All right, let's see. New poll question. What do you want to play as in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, or who do you want to play as? Sonic, Shadow, Cream, or Danica Patrick? Those are your options. Go ahead and vote. We'll get the results for tomorrow's show here on Giant Bomb. New episode of Game Breaking News. And tomorrow we'll have a bunch of fun stuff popping off as well. Until then, though, Jan Ochoa, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games. I really appreciate it.
It's the only way to start a Thursday. It's actually Wednesday, don't worry.
Those don't matter anymore. It's all just one big day. And see you all soon for 33 Immortals and Blake Club later today. Thank you all for listening and watching to this show. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.